Storytime of how I figured out that my sister was trying to kill me. So me and my sister were like best friends when we were little, but she was a very, very jealous person. So years and years go on, but her jealousy seems to start to grow. So I never really thought about it until I found out that she really wanted me dead. But throughout the years, she would do little things to get me hurt. For example, she pushed me off the top of our treehouse and I ended up breaking my arm. But every time I got hurt, my family would baby me and she would get even more mad. So at this time, we're about 16 years old, and I had to go in her room to get her laundry. And under her laundry, I found her diary, or journal, or whatever you call it. I was flipping through the pages, I found out some interesting and crazy things. Then one was named The Perfect Murder. What an original name. She had this big, huge dresser in her room. She went into a lot of detail about how she was going to kill me, but it stated that she was going to push the dresser on top of me and jump on it until I, then scream for help. I'm running out of time, like for part 2. Part 2 of how I found out that my sister was trying to kill me. Continuing on with the story, after I read what I read in her diary, I decided it was best to keep it to myself. So about a month and a half later, I start to think to myself and I'm like, okay, maybe she's not actually gonna do it. Y'all, I don't know why, but I was literally not scared that my sister was like about to kill me. So about 2.5 months after I read what I read in her diary, she calls me into her room and in this fakest voice ever goes, "Sissy, why are you being so distant from me?" I just looked at her like she was crazy. Then she goes, "I know you read my diary." At that exact moment, she looked psycho. I don't know what I was thinking, but right after she said that, my reflex was to knock her out. So I knocked her out, then I stomped on her head. I called my mom into the room and read her the diary, or whatever the heck my sister put in there. Mind you, while I'm reading my mom this diary, she's still knocked out on the floor. My mom then continues to say she's gonna put her in a mental hospital. So to this day, my sister's in a mental hospital, and if you're listening to this and you ever get out, please don't kill me. I'm actually living an amazing life right now.
I went to my best friend's house after school one day. She invited her boyfriend over without her parents knowing, and her parents didn't even know she had a boyfriend. They didn't allow her to have a boyfriend. I was in the front room working on a science project and watching out to see if her parents spontaneously came home. My best friend and her boyfriend were upstairs. All of a sudden, I see her dad pull into the top of the driveway unexpectedly, and I sprinted upstairs and screamed, "Your dad is here!" They both were laughing and they were like, "Haha, you're so funny." They didn't believe me. And I was like, "Look, he is literally in the driveway," and we were all freaking out, and my best friend screamed, "Where are his shoes?" I didn't remember where I put them because I had hid them earlier to try to be funny, and he ran out the back door and he had to walk home. Her dad didn't see him, but her boyfriend did leave a pot of coffee on. My best friend and I at the time did not drink coffee, and her dad comes in and says, "Why is the coffee machine on? You guys don't drink coffee." And I don't think that I have ever been more scared in my life.
If you're easily scared, don't watch this at night. Personal spooky story time, and we're gonna call this one, That Wasn't My Brother. When I was about 18 years old, I had gone out, and I had a very strict dad growing up. If you're Mexican or Hispanic, you know, my curfew was at midnight. Thankfully, my sister would cover for me, and she would hide pajamas in the restroom. That way, if I got home late, I would go straight to the restroom, I would change, and if he caught me coming home late, I was already in my pajamas, and I'd be like, "What do you mean I was in the restroom?" So this specific night, I get home past my curfew, I go straight to the restroom, I use the restroom, wash my face, brush my teeth, put on my pajamas. The way that our house is set up is a long hallway, restroom, my bedroom, my brother's bedroom. But as you're walking to the bedrooms, the living room is right here. So as I'm walking to my bedroom, the house is dark as hell. Our front door has glass and the porch light kind of gleams in. So I'm walking to my bedroom and I happen to look in the living room. Right in front of our front door, I see a little boy. And he's standing there. But what's crazy is the way that he's standing in this perfect spot, the light cuts off right here. So I can see from here down, but I can't see his face. His face is literally black. Like I can't see any features. I can't see nothing. I'm not exactly sure what he's wearing, but it looks like overalls or something like that. My first instinct isn't, "Oh my God, that's a ghost." My instinct is, what the hell is my brother doing awake right now? So I stand there and I'm calling for my brother. I'm literally like, "Eric." My brother's name is Eric. So I'm whispering and I'm like, "Eric," trying to make sure that my parents don't hear me because it's about 3 a.m. And my brother is just standing there. And I'm like, God. Eric! Nothing. No movement. Nothing. So I'm literally standing there for what feels like forever, waiting for my brother to cut his shit out and fucking go lay down, because I'm about to get my ass kicked. And he's just standing there. So now my wheels are turning and I'm like, okay, what's going on? And when I tell you, this is the most I've ever been scared. Like, I was shook. I was shitting myself. I decide, okay, I'm gonna go to my brother's room. Turn on my flashlight. I'm looking, and my brother is asleep in his room. I was so scared. I didn't even go back to my room. Like, I was freaking out. I've talked about my mom's house being haunted before. What's crazy is that it's inexplainable because my dad built their house. I'd understand if it was like an older house or something like that, but it was a new house. Like, I have not done any research on the land, if there used to be something there, if something happened there. I have not done any research, but I have seen and heard so many things inside that house. It is fucking haunted. It wasn't a mimic, because now that I think about it, this little boy was definitely younger than my brother, and we've seen him many times. He loves to play peekaboo. We have 2 living rooms in my parents' house, and my mom was always in the smaller living room in her recliner, and a wall separates both living rooms with a half moon, and she says that she'd be there in the morning and this is the wall, and she could see the little boy like peeking. And when my mom would go and look, he'd kind of like, or if this is the wall, he'd kind of like, you know? But at least it's a friendly ghost.